Welcome to Introduction to Science and Health Communications, Part 1. This is the first part of a four-part series in this training, and my name is Yvonne Price. I am the instructor for this training. So, communicating science and health. This training is an introduction and overview of science and health communication. Over the course of 4 videos, we will look at all these different elements of science and health communication. What is it? Why do it? Who does it? What are the challenges? Exactly how does it happen? And how do you do it? So what is it? There are lots of definitions out there, and many are quite complicated. Most simply defined, science and health communication is the transfer of science or health knowledge from one individual or organization to another. What is effective science and health communication? There are many things involved in effective science and health communication. After all, it's its own academic field and professional field. So there's lots of different elements. But in this introductory training, we are going to focus on 2 important elements that anyone can practice. Effective science and health communication is accurate and engaging. So why do it? Well, just like there are many elements of effective science and health communication, there's lots of reasons to do it, and I'm sure you can think of some on your own. First of all, it affects everyone. It helps the public make informed decisions that relate to their health, to technology choices, to decisions that they may make in elections with regards to policies and policy makers. It has an economic impact in our everyday lives, the developments that come out of science and health innovation and research, and all of that gets translated to the public through the media. And so it all takes place through science and health communication. The way science and health is communicated, how it's done from the source to the public, can have an impact on the public's attitudes and beliefs about different issues. Science and health and the communication of it plays a large part in our future. And again, policy. It has a big impact on policy. Public understanding about science and health issues is very important when they go to vote and they're making decisions with regards to who their policy makers are going to be or what policies they want to support. So who does it? Well, lots of people do science and health communications. We've got the scientists and health professionals, stakeholders, policymakers, media, and the public. Scientists and health professionals are communicating with the media. The media feeds things to the public. Scientists and health professionals now more than ever before also communicate directly with the public. The media are communicating with stakeholders and policymakers in addition to the public. And scientists and health professionals also communicate directly with those stakeholders and policymakers. Now, the stakeholders and policymakers are also communicating directly with the public, and the public, their decisions will influence how they support policymakers or different companies or organizations. So it's really a very intricate web, and there's many different players. For an individual who is a health professional or works with a health organization or is a scientist, being able to communicate effectively about your own research and your own work is a very valuable skill. And as you can see, that's a skill that translates down to the policymakers, the stakeholders, the media, and the public. Trickles down to everyone. Challenges. There are many challenges in science and health communication, and we're going to focus on just a few of them. So one of the big ones is science literacy. So we've got a little cartoon here. Why don't the greenhouse gases escape through the hole in the ozone layer? And there's our sad little polar bear on an island. Science literacy is a big problem. There are many challenges in producing effective science and health communications, and one of the biggest is science literacy. According to the National Science Board, biennial reports, science literacy in the United States and other countries is relatively low. So the National Science Board puts out a biennial report. It comes out every 2 years, and one of the things they always look at is public understanding of science and science literacy. Now, in addition to science literacy being relatively low in the United States and other countries, the average reading ability in the United States is at the 8th grade level. So you can imagine how this might impact science literacy. This is an added challenge when you as a scientist or a health professional are working to communicate with a public who has limited science literacy and also limited literacy in general. These are important things to keep in mind when you're composing a message. So, how science literate are you? Now, this was a little quiz that was given to me when I was back in grad school, and we were all in a program specifically for science and health communications, and so we considered ourselves to be fairly science literate. And we were a little bit surprised by our own deficiencies. So let's quickly just take this little quiz. And I'm going to first tell you that according to the National Science Education Standards from 1996, scientific literacy is defined as the knowledge and understanding of scientific concepts and processes required for personal decision-making, participation in civic and cultural affairs, and economic productivity. So that's their definition of science literacy. Simply put, science literacy is the ability to follow complex science or health issues and make informed decisions based on an understanding of those issues. So here's a few little snippets from this quiz that was given by the National Science Board. So they ask people all of these questions, and let's just look at a few of them. So, does the Earth go around the Sun, or does the Sun go around the Earth? Electrons are smaller than atoms. The earliest humans lived at the same time as dinosaurs. These are 3 of the questions on this quiz that they asked, and I'm going to share with you the results. So the Earth does go around the Sun. Yes. 71% of people got that question correct. Electrons are smaller than atoms. This is true. 45% of the people, 45% of the population in the United States is able to answer correctly that question. The earliest humans lived at the same time as dinosaurs. This is false. Only 48% of people are aware that this is false. The other 52% of the people believe that the earliest humans did live at the same time as dinosaurs. And when you think about the kinds of media that we're exposed to all the time, the kinds of cartoons that we grow up with, and the comics and the newspapers, you can understand what might have perpetuated that idea in many people that people were around at the same time as dinosaurs. We've got the BC comics and the comic strips, cartoons on television with the cavemen and the dinosaurs. So media play a big impact in shaping understanding, perceptions, and beliefs about science. According to the 2012 Science and Engineering Indicators Report, the public's level of factual knowledge about science has not changed much over the past 2 decades, so it's stayed relatively the same. At the 2010 American Association for the Advancement of Science annual meeting, it was reported that over the past 2 decades, science literacy in the United States has nearly tripled. But the proportion of people who fall into that category is very small, only 28%, which is consistent with the findings in the biennial reports done by the National Science Board, which again suggest and report that science literacy is very low. So this is an important thing to consider when you're producing science communication for public audiences and for the media, because when you're communicating with the media about science or health issues, ultimately it's going to filter down to the public. So it's always important to keep that public audience in mind and think about the challenges in communicating with that audience and who your audience is. So this is the end of part 1, Introduction to Science and Health Communication. We've looked at what science and health communication is, why it's important, and who does it. In part 2, we'll look at another challenge and then examine the process of science and health communication. How does it happen?